My child! Papa? Yes, my Tigrex son. Papa, come to me! Papa! Oh!
Hello, my fellow hunters. Come with me as we journey back through time, all the way back. Okay, I meant in Monster Hunter. That's not our. That's too. That's. Oh yes. Today we continue our lovely little look at the extinct species, the ancestors, the progenitors, the predecessors of the monsters that we know and love today. And by know, I mean their moves, and by love, I mean love to kill them. Today, then, we look at the ancestor of all flying wyverns. Yes, all of them, from Rathalos to the pseudos themselves to, well, you can lost.
I believe I can fly.
Oh, we do indeed have a single common monster to bind them all. The first of their kind, though one that ironically could not indeed fly. Meet, then, Wyvern Rex! Oh yes, look at this guy! He is just brutal and massive. Wicked scything claws, dark scales hardened, and razor sharp, a ferocious hungry maw lined with abyssal spikes. It's teeth, I just wanted to say them in a cool way. And while technically, you know, it's got wings in the same sense that Tigrex, its direct descendants, the closest living monster to it, and very close indeed, does, it cannot fly. It is way too heavy and is all about that ground life. Its tail is the length of its body again and lined with spines, thick muscle, and basically it go whip smash and you go ow splat. And I think this guy is phenomenal. You can just see the prehistoric aura emanating from him. You could see that viciousness, that almost evil glint in his eye. Now, there was a version of him that almost could have been kinda, well, aquatic, with this thin spine look and much more sleeker, more, well, fish scaly skin, much less evilly aggressive looking, but really this one doesn't just carry that same kind of vibe. I have a much harder time buying this as the progenitor of all flying wyverns than I do this main Wyvern Rex depiction here, and oh god, what a depiction. So what do we know about old Wyvern Rex? Well, it wasn't capable of flight because it's, you know, huge, wings quite small. It and Tigrex have the same spine structure, and that's about it. That's where it kind of ends, which is a shame when it comes to these extinct monsters. There's very little information. They are just concepts that, you know, have confirmed to be canon, confirmed to have existed in the Monster Hunter universe, but, you know, now very much don't. But what if that don't was a does? Because fighting this guy, can you imagine a Tigrex but huge, a Tigrex but covered in spikes and spines, a Tigrex whose steps can shake the earth and whose roar can shatter mountains, a Tigrex but very, very large. Hello. Oh, that's awkward. I mean, yeah, I guess, can you imagine a Cantor? Admittedly, this guy, his best comparison might end up being a Cantor. A Cantor does the charging forward, he does essentially function as big spiky Tigrex, and that's where Wyvern Rex draws his whole raison d'etre from. So if he was to be actually resurrected, as it were, and put in game, maybe some sort of secret underground ecosystem excavated, a hole chipped away into the ground, maybe the fallout of some other battle, maybe, I don't know, a creature that can move the rock and sink mountains, I don't know, you know, something along those lines. You know, maybe we've uncovered a whole new subterranean zone where monsters long thought to be extinct still roam. That would be very, very cool. Maybe there could be a lake there that swims the ancient serpent we talked about from last time. But through the trees and the forest found within, Wyvern Rex still prowls, and you essentially have to imagine Super Tigrex. You can see with Molten Tigrex just how big the potential for this species is to grow. So when you look at the, well, ancestor of them all, you could imagine this being even more colossal than I'm putting it across. You have to think that maybe a human the size of one of the teeth is the kind of scale that we're looking here. And that is something amazing. A Tigrex built in perhaps the theme of a siege fight as it charges forward and actually savagely goes for the settlements, the castles, a Lao Shanglong type experience, but instead of passive, it is actively going crazy, a frenzy on it, clawing its way out from where we found it, and very much going on the rampage attack. And perhaps you have to stop it, siege it across multiple zones, multiple maps, as you attempt to halt this Wyvern Rex's rampage as it makes a beeline for either Celiada or Astera or whatever game this ends up being in. That would be amazing. Perhaps it's too big to care about individual hunters, but certainly not too big to not have a lot of enjoyment in wiping out human settlements. Whether you give it the raw shenanigans, powerful blasts of air and all of that loveliness, I'm not sure. It would be kind of nice to have a monster that is the pinnacle of brute force. Something like Nergigante is to the Elder. He is the Elder of just physical might. He's not really about elemental or, you know, mythical destruction that a lot of them do tote. Yes, he fires spikes out, which gives him a bit of a ranged edge, and he has that regrow mechanic, which is his gimmick, but this guy, perhaps no gimmick. A Elder Dragon, an extinct monster. Hell, you could add this whole new category, this new subcategory of monsters, the extinct monsters that have been rediscovered, hidden away in a little pocket somewhere, and this guy is the just pure physical force, huge and strong, and that is it, but intelligent too. Something about him, he knows what's up. Maybe he can pull a Velcana on the Legianas, but with the Tigrex, rally them to his cause, and you have to fight an army of them mowing down everything in their path. Whether that actually happens or not is, let's say, probably next to impossible, but a man can dream. And look, something like that would have to eat such insane amounts of prey to actually sustain itself. Then again, I feel like that is not something that's often taken into consideration with monsters, otherwise there would be a huge food shortage because there's only so many apt enough to snack on in the entire world, and all the monsters would starve to death and us hunters would be out of a job. So, you know, I think we can just make things quite safely big. So that's Wyvern Rex then, very mysterious, very enigmatic, but fearsome indeed, and the granddaddy of all known flying wyverns. It would be fun just to even find a skeleton, right? Have it represented in game, have a little bit of a nod to it, but this guy was said to be good night, sweet prince. The apex, the ruler of the primeval world of Monster Hunter, the T-Rex of his day, you know, which makes sense with his name, Wyvern Rex, and something that is somewhat of a king back in his time. And I, for one, well, would love to see his return, or at least him to inspire something similar come the future. What do you guys think of all the Wyvern Rex? Let me know. But for now, I will see you next time. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kinda relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.